So welcome back, and now this is the last session of today's online English classes, and I welcome you back. So the target class is class 7 and 8, as I told you earlier. So today's lesson would be based on verb tenses, and before I begin my class or lesson, I just want to remind you of the English essay writing project initiated by the Department of Education. So where I got the chance to look at and read so many of your write-ups. And I've just found that many of you were very interested in writing about the COVID-19 outbreak and lockdown, what you did during this lockdown and all. And so I thought to share a paragraph based on the same. So to begin my lesson with. So let us read this paragraph. The outbreak of coronavirus that originated from Wuhan, China, has become a global pandemic. It has killed nearly 5 lakh people in the world so far. Schools and colleges have been closed because of the coronavirus. We are staying in our homes most of the time during this lockdown to stay safe. We wear masks when we go outside. We wash our hands with soap and use hand sanitizers. We also follow social distancing to prevent the spread of the virus. So you'll notice that I have highlighted or underlined some of the verbs here. This is just to help you get idea about how verbs function in a paragraph or in a text. So, if you just look at this, the first sentence, the outbreak of coronavirus that originated from Wuhan, China. So, what is your impression about this first sentence? What is the thought that comes in your mind? Yes, I can hear you saying the coronavirus originated in Wuhan, China. Okay, so what made you think that this is do you think this is something that is going to happen, or this is something happening now, or this is something that has already happened? What do you think? Yes? Yes, you're right. So I can hear many of you say, though I'm assuming, I can just hear many of you saying that yes, this happened in past. Because the verb originated here tells you that this is something that happened in the past. The outbreak of coronavirus that originated, right, and has become a global pandemic. Now, in continuation with my first session this morning, so this paragraph will just help you get an idea about how the verbs function in a sentence or in a paragraph, and that becomes very important, and that is why we the teachers have been in a way repeatedly telling you to be very careful about the tenses, the verbs that you use in a sentence, because you want to say something, but if you end up writing a verb in a tense that means something else, then it becomes very confusing. Therefore, it's very important that you take care of the verbs or the verb tenses, right? So let us look at the sentence again. Has become. Now, China has become a global pandemic. So, here the word is has become a global pandemic. Now, this verb form can be written in another way, but then what happens is the meaning changes. What do you think? See, has become here suggests. Has become. Right? Has become. Then we have became, will become, and then becomes. Has become, became, will become, becomes. So, and then we can write even more forms. So, I just want you to notice this 4 ways. Like if instead of has become, if in the paragraph, if we have written the outbreak of coronavirus or that originated from Wuhan, China, became a global pandemic. What happens? What is the mistake here? What do you think? Here I have chosen has become instead of became or will become. If I write will become, that means it is something that will happen in the future. It has not yet happened. So we cannot choose to write this verb form here. And if I write becomes, again this is wrong because this shows the present, simple present tense. So here it's present perfect because this is something that happened in past and this has a connection with the present. The outbreak of COVID-19 originated from China in the late 2019, right? In the last month of 2009, I think, or maybe in November or something. But it still has a connection with what we are facing now. It's not finished yet in a way. So therefore, we are using the present perfect, has become, right? Okay, let's look at another sentence here. Has become a global pandemic. It has killed nearly 5 lakh people in the world so far. So up till now, it has killed, right? It hasn't stopped. It's in a way like something that happened and then there is a connection with the present. It has killed. So killed. So since you are all the students of class 7 and 8, I assume you to be aware of the regular and irregular verbs. Nevertheless, I'm going to discuss with you in my later slides. But I also want you to, in a way, remember that while you read or when you write something, you are aware of the different verb forms. So killed. You must be knowing the base form of the verb is kill and the past tense becomes killed and the past participle is again killed, right? So what you need to remember is since the past tense, the past simple and the past participle ends with ed, right? These are regular verbs because we have a definite pattern, a specific pattern. So while you look at the tense, I want you to focus on the verb forms as well. So he killed, okay, say suppose he killed a bird. Here we are using killed as the second form, okay, second form of verb. That is the past. Now if I write he had killed a bird, he had killed a bird. Now here I am using killed, but this is not the second form, it is the third form of the verb. Third form, that is the past participle. And this one is the past perfect tense. He had killed a bird. So see, when you use the verb, you need to be very careful what you want to express. Based on that, you have to choose which verb form you are going to use, right? Now look at the sentence again. Schools and colleges have been closed because of the coronavirus. Schools and colleges have been closed. Now, schools and colleges. Schools and colleges have been closed. Now, what you need to remember is the subject here. Subject here is schools and colleges have been closed. Now, this is the verb here. Okay, have been closed. So, what I also want you to remember is many a time, like during my school time, like when I was a student and when I was the teacher, I have seen this sort of mistakes students often make. Like when they often get confused between the subject right? Whether the subject is plural or singular, and even they know, then in a way sometimes they get confused whether to choose the singular verb or the plural form. Therefore, I want you to be very careful in choosing the correct verb form based on the subject. So, schools and colleges have been closed. So, here have shows in the schools and colleges have been closed. In a way present, and then there are more than one, right? Schools and colleges have been closed. So, here also what we need to remember is have been closed. Now, this word have been shows that this is present perfect tense, and here closed is the third form of the verb, third form, right? Close, closed, closed. So, sometimes we often find the third form of the verb written in something else, like if you remember, written, right? We don't have the ed, written, write, wrote, written. So, these are irregular form of verb, or irregular verbs that do not follow a specific pattern. So, schools and colleges have been closed. Sorry, I am just going out of the point in a way. Here I just want you to focus on, I want to stress on this have been closed because of the coronavirus, right? Next, I'll look at another one. We are staying in our homes most of the time. So, we are staying in our homes most of the time during this lockdown to stay safe. Okay, we are staying. We are staying in our, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, we are staying in our homes. So, here what you need to remember is some problem. Thank you. We are staying. We are staying in our homes. Now, this one suggests an event or action that is happening presently. So, we are staying in our homes during this lockdown. So, we are staying. So, what you need to remember is most of the times the continuous form, the present continuous form or past continuous or future continuous, it is also called progressive, continuous or progressive. This tense takes this, the verb ends with, we have to add the verb plus ing, right? We are staying in our homes. Is it clear? Yes, we are staying in our homes. So, this is, I think, for students of class 7 and 8, it's quite simple, right? So, we can change the tense based on that. If we write we were staying, then it becomes past continuous. We were staying. So, that's all when we want to write about the future tense, we will be. Okay. So, we were staying, we will be staying. So, that all suggests the tense, right, the time. Okay. So, most of the time during this lockdown, to stay safe, we wear mask when we go outside. Here, you'll see that we wear mask. So, we wear is showing present tense when we go outside, again present tense, right? We wash our hands with soap and use sanitizer. So, these are something that is happening on a regular basis. It's present. We also follow social distancing to prevent the spread of the virus. We also follow social distancing. So, what I want you to notice here is we wear mask. Now, in case if we have to change the subject here, instead of we, if I write I wear mask, right? Now, if I write Tenzin wear mask, then this sentence becomes wrong. Tenzin is a singular subject, and so the verb has to be singular. So, Tenzin wears mask when he goes outside, right? Tenzin is a singular subject, I repeat, and so the verb has to be singular. So, wear is a plural verb. So, in order to remember whether the verb is a singular or plural, I just give you a simple tip. Usually when we change a word into its plural form, we add s or es. But when we are talking about subject-verb agreement, what we need to remember is most of the time the verb has the s form when it is in singular form, right? She wears, she eats, he eats dinner. He writes letter, she writes, she reads. But then we have exception. For I and you, we don't add s. I read, I write. You read, you write. So we is a plural subject, so we write, we read in this way. So here my reason, motive behind stressing on this is just to help you remember the importance of subject-verb agreement, right? So let us again look at the sentence. We wear masks when we go outside. We wash our hands with soap and use sanitizers. We also follow social distancing. Here follow is written because we is a plural subject. So follow is a plural verb. I follow, right? He follows, she follows social distancing to prevent the spread of the virus, right? Next, let us compare these two texts. So I'll just give you some time to go through these texts. So assuming that the first text is written in June, that is this month, right, 2020, and the second text written sometime in 2022, that is after 2 years maybe, right? Right now it's 2020, so written sometime in 2022. So I want you to read these two texts. All right, now see, you have read the two texts, I guess. What sentence am I using? You have read the two texts. Okay, the outbreak of COVID-19 that originated from Wuhan, China has become a global pandemic. It has killed. Now this one is already shown to you, it's already written. So I'm going to read the second text here, written sometime in 2022. The outbreak of COVID-19 that originated from Wuhan, China became a global pandemic. Now, mark the tense. I have highlighted the tense here, the verb here. Became a global pandemic. It killed nearly 5 lakh people in the world. Schools and colleges were closed because of the coronavirus. We stayed in our homes most of the time during that lockdown to stay safe. So, what did you notice? It's only the difference in the time frame because one is written this month in the same year and the text is written in 2022. So when it is 2022, you remember the incident that happened in 2020. So that is something already happened, right? So you will write the same in the past tense. So that is why I just wanted you to focus on how verbs function, how verb plays their role in conveying the right meaning. So therefore, it's very important. Let's look at the text again. China became so in the first text, China has become, right? And the second text, the verb I have used is from Wuhan, China became a global pandemic. This is something that happened in the past, right? No connection in a way. That is something happened in the past. So we are not talking about the connections, right? It killed nearly 5 lakh people in the world. So this is again something that happened in the past. Schools and colleges were closed. We stayed in our homes most of the time. Now here, in the first text, during this lockdown, because this is something that is happening presently, right, in the present situation. But in the second text, you might have noticed that instead of this, I have used that. We stayed in our homes most of the time during that lockdown, because this is an event of past, not present. So I have changed this into that, right? So you need to keep that in mind. Now here we have present tense as well as past tense. Now you can think of rewriting the same text in future tense, right? How to do that? Just to help you get an idea about, this is how you can play with text, a sort of paragraph that you read. You can just think about in different ways how this paragraph can be reframed if we change the verb tense, right? Okay. So the verb tenses you are all aware of, past, present, future. These are the basic or the main category of verb tenses, and then we have for each. Simple past, past continuous, past perfect continuous tense, and simple present, present continuous, present perfect tense, and present perfect continuous tense. In the same way, we have future, right? Future simple, future continuous, future perfect continuous. So I like in the earlier I just told you about regular and irregular verbs. So I assume that many of you are already aware of regular and irregular verbs, but just to brush up, I just want you to go through this slide. So regular verbs create the simple past and past participle by adding a d or ed to the end of the verb or the base form. And what you need to remember is, if the verb ends in E, we can simply add D, right? For example, if the base form is dance, we can add D, danced, and the past participle is also danced. The same way, if we have like another verb called love, loved, like, liked, liked. So this is how we need to remember. If the verb ends in a consonant and Y, we change the Y to I and add D. For example, the base form is carried, the Y is replaced by I-E-D, carried, study, studied, worry, worried. In the same way, we have marry, M-A-R-R-Y, and then we replace the Y with I, and then we add I-E-D. So, worried. This is how the regular verb has a specific pattern. But irregular verbs, they don't follow any specific pattern. So, they do not follow a regular pattern. So, many of you do not like to be disciplined, right? So you just don't want to follow this rule, that rule. Why there are so many rules that are imposed upon me? I just want to be a free bird. Many of you might feel. So I always feel that these irregular verbs are like this. The free, they just don't want to follow any rules. Okay. So just look at the slide. But what you need to remember is, though irregular verbs do not follow a specific or regular pattern, but we need to try to keep them into a regular pattern, so that we can remember them easily, right? So what you need to remember is, the irregular verbs can come in this way, like where this one group is when the base form, that is the present part, right, infinitive, we can say, or the past simple and past participle all have the same spelling, right? So when they are all same, this is one category or one group, and the other one is when the base form and the past are same. And the third group is when the past simple and past participle are same. And again, another rule-breaking thing happened, where all the base form, past simple, past participle, all are different, right? So that's why the name itself suggests irregular. It's not regular. So these are the 4 groups you need to remember. Let me show you with an example here. The first one where all the 3 forms of verb are same. Cut, 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 put. And then we have the second form where the first form and the third form are same. Come, came, come. But the second form of verb is different. And then we have run, ran, run. And the third form, read. So I just assume that class 7 and 8 students, unlike class 5 and 6, must be very aware of how to pronounce the second form and third form of this word, R-E-A-D. Am I right? Yes. So read, read, read. Spelling is same. The only difference is the way you pronounce it, right? So teach, taught, taught. Then you have fight, fought, fought. Catch, caught, caught. So in this way you can remember. And the last one, do, did, done. Write, wrote, written. And then you have the very common eat, ate, eaten. Right? Drink, drank, drunk. So I just want you to look at the board so that I can help you with some more examples to remember. Oh. Okay. Okay, so the base form or the infinitive is write, the past is wrote and the past participle is written. So I'm just taking one example from the list I have shown you in the slide. So write, wrote, written, right? So let us just make few sentences based on this so that you get an idea. So I think you already know this, but I'm just trying to help you review. Let me just find out how many of you have paid attention to what I have told earlier. What do you think? Is this a correct sentence? He write a letter. What did you say? It's wrong. Yes, very good. He write a letter is wrong because, yes, reason also, I just want a reason. Because the verb here is not in its singular form but plural form. So the correct sentence should look like he writes a letter, right? Now when we write this in the second form, he wrote a letter. Then we have he had written a letter. This is past perfect. Now if I want to change this into present perfect, what I can do is he has written. He has written a letter. Right, this is present perfect. Present perfect. Now, what I want you to try is, try forming sentences, framing sentences in the different tenses, different verb tenses. So this one is a simple present tense, simple past. Here I have written past perfect as well as present perfect. So he had written a letter in a way that when you can add something, because we talk about something that has already happened when the other action is happening, right? He had written a letter when his friend arrived. Or in the way, let me write another one. Let's take he, present continuous, I'll try. He was writing a letter when his friend came. Okay, he was writing a letter when his friend came. So here this is past continuous. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of mixing up the things, tenses, the regular verb forms, because this is how it is. When you read something or when you write something, we cannot just focus only on tense, because there are other things that we need to take care of. Okay, so he was writing a letter when his friend came. So this is past continuous. In the same way, you just try making it into future continuous tense. How will the sentence look like if I want to change this into future continuous tense? He, yes, I'm hearing some voice saying yes, he will be, very good, he will be writing a letter. He will be writing a letter when his friend, what do you think I should write now? Can I write came here? Is it right if I write came? He will be writing a letter when his friend came. What do you think? He will be writing a letter when his friend came. Is it right? Of course not. Right? Because this is something that is going to happen in future. We cannot use the past tense here. He will be writing a letter when his friend arrive, or you can write come and make it more correct, comes or arrives. I hope you got this, right? What I want to stress on. I'm here not only stressing on the tense, but the subject and verb. When his friend arrives, comes. But if I write when his friends, okay, if I write when his friends, then I may remove this S. Why? Because the subject is plural, so the verb has to be plural. He will be writing a letter when his friends arrive, when his friends come. Okay? But since here I have written friend, I'm going to write arrives, taking the singular form of the verb. So, I just want you to try in as many ways as possible, try to frame the sentences into its different tenses. So, there are 12 verb tenses, and I just want you to take an example from the text. Okay, let me show you the text if you just want to look at. Okay, so you can take any text, any sentence from this text, right? So take a sentence from this text and just try to frame or reframe or rewrite the sentence in different tenses, right? So like we wash our hands with soap and use hand sanitizers. So change the tense. Past tense, future tense, maybe present perfect. So this is the assignment I am just going to give you. Please try making as many sentences as possible, and this is how you will understand how the verbs function in a sentence, right? So tomorrow we will be, Gidin Sargila and I will be taking sessions on types of sentences. So there will be 4 sessions tomorrow, and it will start from 9:30, and we really hope there's no technical issue tomorrow and we are able to start on time. So all the best. See you tomorrow. Thank you.